Hello and welcome to another video from East Texas Outdoors. Today we're going to be doing a Texas style smoked brisket. I got this brisket today from the store. Butcher already had it trimmed. A lot of times when you get these things, they won't be already trimmed, and you'll have to trim off some of the fat cap, get it down to about 1/4 of an inch, anywhere between 1/8 and 1/4 of an inch. Trim that down. This one came pre-trimmed, saved us a little bit of work. I just took it out of the package. Now the next step we're going to do is we're going to get this thing wiped off. We don't want to run it underneath the water and rinse it off. It will have some blood residue on it, but we're just going to get a paper towel and we're going to dry this thing off. Dry it off really good. I've already dried off the back side of it before I laid it down here. And now we want to get this thing seasoned up and get this thing wrapped up and stick it into the refrigerator for a little while before I'm ready to put it onto the pit. So I'm going to put a few different seasonings on this thing today. I'm going to start out with a white pepper and black pepper blend, and this is all three of these seasonings that I'm going to be putting on there are just kind of basically a rub. I'm going to sprinkle these on and rub it into the meat and flip it over and do the same thing on that side as well. So there's no real rhyme or reason or science behind the rub of any barbecue before you put this thing in. You just want to make sure that you get it fully rubbed into all the folds of the meat here on the entire side that you're working on here. And then your next spice that you tend to use, this one is it's a brisket rub. This one is. Get this one fully rubbed in. I always start with my white pepper and black pepper rub first. I like the pepper to get into the meat, I think, a little bit before the barbecue seasoning taste. I think it just layers the seasoning levels into the meat a little bit, and I kind of like the way it tastes. So this third one, the third and last that I'm putting on, is just a general style barbecue rub, and it has a few different type of spices that my brisket one doesn't have that I tend to like a little bit. You know, you could just get away with the brisket rub and the salt and black pepper and white pepper rub into it, then it would be just as good. But now I'm going to do the same thing on the back side, the fat cap side. Get that one fully rubbed in. On my brisket rub. That thing in all the little nooks and crannies there, all the way around the side down here to the tip of it. And then just my regular barbecue rub on top, that third layer. Now I've got this thing fully seasoned, wrapped up. Now we're going to wrap this thing up. We're going to stick it in the fridge for a while. We're going to stick it in the fridge till we're ready to put it on the fire. At that point, I'll meet back up with you, and we'll stick this thing on the pit here in just a little bit. Thanks. All right, everybody, we're back here. We got our brisket all marinated up earlier with our rub. We've got the pit here fired up, and we just put the thing on and take a little look here. Got it sitting in here. We've got my probe. I've just stuck my probe in it so I can keep track of my temperatures. Got that thing set on a remote, so give me a notification here when it reaches the internal temp of 160 that I try to take it at that point to wrap it up, double wrap it in foil, and then I'll put it back on, and we'll show you what's taking place at that point. But it's smelling good. I am ready to get some of that brisket. It's going to taste amazing. We're spending the weekend up here at the lake, and it's going to be some good food for everybody. Look forward to showing you the next phase here, and we'll talk to y'all in probably about 6-7 hours, show you what we got going on. Thanks. Hey, welcome back. It's been about 7 hours. We've had this thing on here smoking non-stop now. Been having it at about 225 degrees It's finally reached its stall temperature of about 157 degrees. I was trying to get it to 160. These things, they'll get to a stall temperature, usually between 150 to 160, somewhere in there. Whenever it hits that, and it doesn't keep rising to that 160 mark, it's hit its stall. So I let it sit here for about another 20 minutes or so, seeing if it was going to go up. It's kind of stalled out there. So what I'm going to do now, at this point, I'm going to take it off, and I'm going to wrap this thing up in the foil, and we're going to get this thing back on, and then we'll go for another 3 or 4 hours till this thing hits an internal temperature with the probe of 203. That's my next target number. So here we are. We're about to take this thing off, and going to get it wrapped up in some foil and get it back on there, get the probe back in it, and we'll see you again here in just a little bit. All right, thanks. All right, welcome back. As you can see, we've got a finished product here now. When I last talked with you, I just wrapped it in the foil and put it back on the pit. At that point, it was right at 160 degrees with the temperature probe. So at that point, that's when you wrap this thing up. I double wrap it in aluminum foil and we put it back on, still maintaining the 225 degrees on the smoker. And I maintain that same temperature throughout the whole thing, that 225 from beginning to end, never changes. But once it hits that 160 degree mark, that's when I wrap this thing up and put it back in, put the temperature probe back in it, and let it keep going then at that point, and I'll let it go until it reaches a temperature of 203. Once it reaches 203, then pull this thing out, and I wrap the whole aluminum wrapped brisket with a couple towels and bring that thing inside for it to finish resting. Let it rest, let it continue to let those juices do their work. And I can show you some of this, a little bit of the smoke ring here on this thing. It's a pretty good one. This thing looks pretty good. You can see that. We've got a nice even smoke ring all the way around this thing. It's not dry. We've got some good juices in this thing. Very tasty. So, you know, I hope you liked this one. I hope this was able to help you out a little bit. We're going to be doing some other ones. We're going to be doing some ribs and chickens here at a later point. But this brisket, you know, this brisket's kind of one of my favorites. You can do so many things with it, from sliced beef to, you know, chop up the ends for some barbecue sandwich, chopped beef barbecue sandwiches. It's just a great tasting little meal here for a weekend or a holiday. Get together with some family or friends and, you know, just dedicate some time to the pit. You know, I put it on last night. It was right at about 11:30. I put this thing on 6:45 this morning. It finally hit its 160 degree mark, and that was when I wrapped it up, and then I took it off of the pit about 10:30 then. So you don't want to cook them too fast. You don't want to go too high with temperature and try cooking it too fast. You're going to dry the thing out. It's going to be like leather, and you know, your guests just aren't going to get the full enjoyment out of it. Now, one final thing I'll tell you: when you're slicing these briskets, it's critical to make sure you slice this thing across the grains. The meat grains are running this direction, and I'm slicing it across the grain, and it gives you a really nice slice of brisket to go on a bun or sandwich or on somebody's plate there. So if you like the recipe, if you like the video, if you want to see some more of those, do me a favor, go down there to the bottom, hit that like button, hit subscribe. East Texas Outdoors, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you.